G'day, internet fans. This is George on a freezing August day, 5th of August, in fact, 2026. It's going to be raining for the next couple of days, so I think I have to do these recordings indoors. But welcome to you. So good to be with you here. And I'm here to present to you another episode of Message of Hope. Rail. A blue and yellow macaw walks onto a football pitch in Brazil, which is a type of parrot. And of course, 17 minutes into an under 15 cup match that was held between Flamengo and Chiara. I think that's how you pronounce it. And knocks out a defender clean off his feet. Talk about man versus animal. Of course, the referee stops the play, rightly so. The bird just sits there. 15 minutes it took. And nobody wants to be the next target. Who would want to be? Eventually, it flies off. Yes, the match will restart. But of course, later in the same half, it comes back and does it again, looking for its next victim. Well, when I watched that clip, I thought straight away of that famous Alfred Hitchcock's movie, The Birds. I've watched that twice, by the way. And honestly, if that had been an eagle instead of a parrot, I don't think anyone really would have been laughing, especially not me. I certainly wouldn't have been laughing at all. Now, I've got a history with birds, and yes, it hasn't been gentle. Some of you may be upset. You might see it as nesting season, and this is what happens. Magpie comes low, flying low and fast. Its wings clipping past my ears close enough that I duck mid-stride. Every single time, yeah. No matter how many times it's happened before. Doesn't just happen to me, it happens to dogs and other people who walk by. But here's the thing though. The ones that actually get you are rarely the ones you see coming. So have a listen to this, right? It's related to, I think, a chapter, particular verse in the Bible. And you'll find it in the 1st of Peter, chapter 5, verse 8. It says, be sober-minded, be watchful. Your adversary, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour. Many of you will be able to recognize this verse very quickly. Now, in the context, Peter's writing to a persecuted church facing real physical suffering. This verse is the first and foremost about staying alert to that kind of open threat. Okay? So I'm not going to take things out of context. A prowling lion doesn't hide what it is, does it? But here's what I think about. Because the lion's obvious, right? You see it and you run. But what about the threats that don't look like threats at all? I mean, the ones dressed up as help or comfort, or even a shortcut at times. Staying alert matters most when the danger doesn't look like danger. Which, funnily enough, is the whole story of what happened in my own backyard. Have a listen to this. And you'll say, poor George. And by the way, if you want more of these videos, there's the subscribe button right there. Please hit the notification. Don't forget to like the video and share it with your friends and family. It was probably about at least 6 or 7 years ago. I found what I thought was a bit of a bee problem in my backyard. Originally, I thought it was bees. It was just a tiny, small little hole, maybe a few inches wide. A few of them hang around it. I didn't think much of it until my wife got stung and told me in no uncertain terms this needed sorted. Like I said, I thought it was a bee. Turned out nothing like a bee. It was Wasp. So I did what any unqualified man with a backyard does. Try to be creative. I put a plastic mesh over the hole. To my surprise, disappointment, and anger, overnight they chew straight through it. Little buggers, very persistent. So, step 2, went to the next productivity mode. I use bread as bait, okay? Because I read somewhere that birds go after insects. So I scattered bread near the hole, hoping for some feathered backup. Yes, surely the birds came, which is mainly the pigeons. They ate every crumb. But the wasp did not register their presence in the slightest. Those birds had some kind of Teflon coating nobody told me about. It just didn't seem to bother them. And lastly, step 3, the final straw. In my backyard, there were 2 large rocks. Yeah, they're really large, like close to probably even 10 kilograms. Yeah, it takes a bit to lift them up. So these rocks, I intended to drop directly over the hole and seal the whole thing in one clean motion. That was my idea. Well, I got as close as I dared to, maybe just a meter or meter and a half away. I hurled it with everything I had. I lifted up and I threw it. And I ran straight after. Obviously, I missed because the rock hit the dirt beside the hole and threw up a cloud of dust. And obviously, then the sound changed. It wasn't a few wasps anymore. It was everywhere, all around me. They were really angry bunch of insects. There was a wall of noise closing in from every direction at once. You betcha I ran. I really ran harder than I ever think I ran. And I still felt it today. Very vivid in my memory. And there was maybe 1 or 2 on my neck, definitely on my forearm, on my hand, and my palm, well, on top of my palm. 2 more somewhere else. I couldn't even locate at the time. It was just so painful. I was running. It was just pain arriving from everywhere. Yes, it was sore. It was stinging. I was truly humble. So finally, sensible enough to Google a bee specialist in my mind, who turned up and cleared the whole colony properly in about 25 minutes. He did a real fantastic job. And here's what I didn't understand until I was standing there covered in dust and stings. The danger was never really the wasp. It was me, wasn't it? I was convinced just using a bit of mesh or even some bread and a rock would solve the problem. I mean, I could barely lift straight when I lifted the rock. Anyway, the mash looked like it did work, didn't it? I thought, and the bread looked like it would work. I wasn't that smart. Each one felt like enough right up to it wasn't. And I think a lot of us do exactly with our type of faith. We'll reach for whatever looks like you'll handle the problem without costing us much. But friends, when something feels off spiritually, I'm talking about like temptation is about to reach for whatever's nearest and least confronting, that's when you got to give it a lot of thought and prayers. Now, I'm going to mention a particular pastor on the internet by the name of Joel. He's built an enormous platform on a version of gospel that really quietly waters down the weight of sin. It's popular precisely because it doesn't sting, does it? Nobody wants to be told that they're sinning in their lives. But a gospel that never mentions the line isn't protecting you from it, right? Because sin can encroach in our life. Anyway, to cut a long story short, the rock missed, dust rose up in the air, and I ran. So I'm going to leave you with these questions. Where are you still trying to handle the thing yourself with mesh and bread, as an analogy? And that today is the message of hope. Thanks for listening. I better put the heater on. I'll see you on tomorrow's video. Bye-bye.